Hello, folks. Welcome to Fables and Fairies. I'm Brendan, Phelan. We tell fables. I'm a fairy. There we go. Welcome back to episode 2 of our a stream going on here as we are playing our way through Candlekeep Mysteries. A heads up, we are talking to you from the past because of scheduling, logistics, and technical limitations. So we do not see the chat, but many of us hang out during the live broadcast. So chat away, and we will be there hanging out and looking forward to chatting with you. Exciting news. As of this recording, we are at 40 followers. So that just puts us 10 away from the magic number to get affiliate status. So we can do some more of those cool, awesome things that we are looking forward to. So if you are watching us on Twitch right now, or if you are watching this later on YouTube, go throw a follow onto Twitch, and it will help us continue and do this awesome story for you folks, because we love having you around. Our first stream of the previous episode was an absolute blast. You can check that out on YouTube as well. So do that, and it will be awesome. So,
what's our YouTube username?
Huh?
What's our YouTube username, boss?
Oh, that's right. It is Fables and Fairies. There will be a link appearing in the chat presently to take you over there. Very good. Thank you for that. All right. Well, then previously on D&D in our Candlekeep adventures, we had met our Candlekeep Outsource commission, a ragtag bag of adventuring, spirited individuals who have been called together to help Candlekeep deal with its miscellaneous problems and ne'er-do-wells. And we had been introduced to our cast. Barrett Zune, the wizard, an aged Githyanki, who has been on the Prime material for a while. Azure, our half-elf rogue, hailing from Neverwinter. Zokar, our other Githyanki, the artificer, a little more fresh from the Astral Sea. Selva, our half-elf sorceress, new to her storm magic and still learning to control it. And Tally, the cat with a cat. And
also, hi guys, I'm RJ. You couldn't see me, you could hear me. But
that is right. That is right. We have RJ.
No technical difficulties.
Indeed.
Other than talking over each other.
Very true.
Hold on, we couldn't see or hear you?
They didn't hear me, they couldn't see me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, that's
I was an inky black void in-game as well.
It's usually my job.
Indeed. All right, so we have all present and accounted for. So on our previous adventures, you had been introduced to the party, sitting in on their first, well, not their first, but the first for our audience, mission briefing weekly assignment, in which they learned that the Night Watch that guards the vault where newly admitted books are stored have been killed. And the answer was supposedly to be found within the books that still remained from this circumstance. So they turned their attention to investigating, and in the course of that, had one of these books change its form into this swirling orb of energy that struck out, crying, "Feed me, hungry," as the party was able to dispatch it, and then start investigating what had led to this strange conversion there, and follow up on who the individuals were that had brought this book, as well as 2 others that are still missing from the archive. And that is where we pick up today, in their office, I believe.
Point of pride, we didn't just dispatch it, we annihilated it.
We annihilated it without at least one of our characters doing anything. Because I basically sat in the corner and meowed at it, as I recall.
Yep.
I took one step away from it and was instantly dropped unconscious.
There were a lot of crits. So many crits.
It was exciting.
So yeah, here we are.
Indeed, we are brought back to the office of the Candlekeep Outsource Commission, where this tussle had occurred. You had done a little bit of investigating of the list of entried books in this space, and had come up with some names that you might be interested in following up with. There was also discussion of going to look at the vault, perhaps. So there were a couple options on your table. So where would you guys like to transition next?
So we had 2 people to talk to, and a couple of crackpot theories.
Yeah,
We also might want to get to the scene of the crime before things get too cold. Not to be all noir detective about it or anything, but
I think it's pretty clear at this point that the 2 guards were killed by 2 other books that were transformed into this creature. So it might be prudent to talk to the people that brought them in, is my
Fair.
vote.
As I stood in the sunbeam, cleaning my arm, I watched her walk in, all legs, and I said, Meow Mix, please deliver. Noir cat.
That, but less hard boiled.
I'm gonna wander out and see if there are any snacks left.
No, they are your new best friend, or at least Zokar's new best friend. Robinson has taken them to the break room.
Damn it! That's irritating. I'm back. No snacks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how do we run down the people that we're looking for? What do we know about them aside from their general descriptions?
Well, you know that of these 3 books in question, 2 of them are more recent acquisitions for the library. So the individuals who brought them are still, as far as the list is concerned, they are still at Candlekeep. So you should be able to find them in the Court of Air, which is where outsiders are housed and do all of their research. You know, guests to Candlekeep, seekers as they are referred to, are almost never allowed within Candlekeep itself. They are restrained to the Court of Air, which is an adjoining courtyard where the entrance to Candlekeep is located.
I would say we should also issue an alert to the Avowed that they should perhaps temporarily suspend any more seekers, like taking books from any more seekers.
And maybe kind of quarantining off these books that have come in since the first attack happened.
Very reasonable, very
That's
reasonable.
a good idea. Citywide alert, but quietly.
All right, so to that end, you could head down to the morgue, where you know Teles to be investigating these bodies, to speak with your boss directly, the great reader of occultism, or you could just flag down a page or what have you, and pass along the news to whom it may concern sort of form.
I mean, might as well meet the boss.
Yeah.
We can learn something at the same time about the bodies. Not that we're going to learn. I don't think we're going to learn that much, because I think that Trigger is correct and that they've likely just been murdered by other books. But maybe we'll learn something about the nature of their wounds, which will help us prepare for combat with the other books.
Fair enough.
I'd like to follow up more specifically with the people who brought the books in and see if I can't find out information about where they acquired them.
Sure.
But I'm happy to join the group and just make it a point that I'd like those people collected for questioning.
Fair enough. So
Although I wouldn't call it questioning, I'd call it interrogation.
Excellent. So do I hear kind of like a party split up, or? Okay.
I'll go with them, but I want those people collected for interrogation.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we can do
Gotcha.
one and the other.
Gotcha. All right. So heading down into the depths of Candlekeep here, you do come to a chilly room, sort of deeper within the rock, where there is mostly empty facilities. Obviously, there's not a lot of deaths at Candlekeep, so it is not frequently used, but you do come in to find a collection of individuals in the vicinity. There is Teles, of course, standing well back from the table, his immaculate robes that are in the same purple as the rest of the Avowed, but they are of a more flattering cut, a silver embroidery in ancient Netherese script along the edges and whatnot, as he's sort of keeping his distance and using perhaps Mage Hand and other sort of distant divination-based spells as well to sort of survey the bodies. And there is also a Bookworm, who you have encountered before, present, taking a much more sort of hands-on approach with that. And
Is this
Grenade
literally
bookworm?
a worm that likes books, or is this a figure of speech?
this is a green dragonborn. Bookworm, one of the individuals called out in your campaign primer, is a green dragonborn. She is the first reader, so she could be called really the second in command of Candlekeep, second only to the keeper of tomes, Janusui themselves. So Bookworm is responsible for the security and integrity of the collection. She's a very sort of no-nonsense. You spent a good amount of time with her when the COC was first formed. She sort of went through your procedures and that sort of thing as this was all getting set up. So she's there, sort of right front and center, investigating the bodies physically, peering down with a sort of monocle in her eye and speaking to herself in Draconic as you see a piece of parchment that is floating in the air next to her and scribbling down notes of its own accord. And she sort of looks up to you. Ah, welcome, welcome. Come on in, come on in. Have you found anything interesting? We've been getting quite busy here. Not that Teles has been much help. And he just sort of puffs himself up. Well, we can never be entirely too cautious. We're still not precisely sure what caused this. I have seen curses that behave this way.
I think I can speak to what caused this.
Oh, excellent. Go on, Beretsun.
Contained within the tomes that were brought to our office was a creature that sprang forth from one of the books and attempted to consume my spirit in much the same way that these two have been drained of life force. We were able to dispatch the creature, but I can only assume that there were two others that were within the other two books that have gone missing.
Oh, that's very interesting. And he sort of rushes over to you and, his orb, which had been sort of floating over the slab, sort of transitions to you and is like shining this purple light at you. And he sort of like comes right up to you and like peers into your pupils and whatnot. And tell me, how do you feel?
I have infused him with potent healing magics. He is fine. However, I was also attacked by the beast and have not paused to stop to heal myself, if you wish to see its effects on a living being.
Oh, yes, that would be.
I walk over and start batting at it.
Tally, no, I need that. And he sort of like gestures like this and it pulls back. And he'll come up and examine Zokar more closely, sort of pull open and look at the pupils, check like your wrists and the back of your palms, and be checking for various miscellaneous things. He's checking sort of random parts of your body that don't seem to make a lot of medical sense, but he seems to be very intent on what he's looking for. Well, that is very interesting, very interesting.
Note my gross pale discoloration.
Indeed. That is not too explicative by itself. There are many curses, magics, creatures that can cause that sort of draining of life force. So unfortunately, from your symptoms alone, I'm not able to specifically narrow down. Although if we are dealing with a creature, that does give me some ideas. Perhaps something ethereal might be my guess.
Did anyone bring the ectoplasm that it dropped?
No.
I'm still holding it.
I'm taking a PKE valence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We brought its corpse.
Oh.
Here's the goop.
And
And I hand it over to Teles.
Teles. He immediately
How do you spell that, by the way?
Teles.
Yeah, no, he's not gonna touch this.
Nope.
Thank you.
I attempt to, and I'm still kind of cat's cradling it, and but he is just not taking it from me.
Right.
We also wish to interrogate Eularian High Scroll and Valor.
That
Interesting.
seems right.
Interesting. And what do those individuals have to do with this? And he's sort of like talking to you while still taking a step back from Selva and sending his orb over to sort of like this little beam of light comes out and sort of pokes at the goop and sort of begins agitating it.
If we told you, it would perhaps influence the investigation.
And we'd have to kill you.
Oh,
He's literally our boss, is he not?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think,
I thought there were.
I think
two
actually he
people.
gets to kill us for insubordination.
I think there were two. I thought there were two people down here.
I didn't sign up for that.
The whiny hypochondriac and then our boss.
No, the wine hypochondriac is our boss. That's the boss of Candlekeep.
second in command.
Well,
So
as
you
far as we're concerned, the boss.
right, yeah.
Wait, just to confirm, they're the same person. There's only one individual.
No,
No,
two people. Teles Avoste is the great reader of occultism, and he is your boss. Above
Whiny
him,
hypochondriac.
whiny hypochondriac. Above him is Bookworm, and she is the first reader, and she is the second in command of Candlekeep as a whole. And she reports directly to Janasui, the keeper of tomes, who is
Okay.
head
So
honcho.
my response to Teles is exactly what I said.
Sort of cocks his head. Oh. Very well, very well. Well, I can determine where they are located.
Thank you.
Do we know if there was any kind of ectoplasm goop at the scene of the crime? Or I know that when
We'd have to
we
go
spoke
check.
to Roberson, he said it was pretty much all cleaned up, but we didn't know what we were looking for. So if there's none, does that mean the creatures fully defeated them and are out and about?
Yeah, I would
Or
assume they
floating around?
either are prowling somewhere or they have returned to whatever plane they originated from with their stolen life force.
The other supplicants of knowledge were not as prepared as we were.
That is certainly a reasonable hypothesis. Well, that's certainly interesting possibility. I shall pass along concerns. Now that I have this sample to work with, I can come up to a better deduction of what we're dealing with, and the orb sort of picks up a long tendril of ectoplasm. Yes, certainly ethereal. Was it capable of communication in any fashion?
Telepathic.
Yeah, we both felt a presence, not necessarily a sentience, but a mental impression that it was hungry.
And
And then it ate us.
indeed. And the two Githyanki were aware of this presence first, you say?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
None of us heard it,
Yeah.
as far as I remember.
Until there was a floating ball of light and pain.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Very interesting. Well, I think that definitively narrows down the possibility of it is definitely ethereal. That matches up. I'm not familiar with something that is capable of telepathy, would have a connection to astral denizens, and also saps. Well,
It also shape-shifted from the book. It went from the book form so that it didn't appear to be possessing the book so much as it was the book. And then there was no book once we killed it. So also shape-shifting as well. Add that to your list.
interesting. I haven't studied them in particular. We'll have to check if we have any research materials on this. But the only thing that I have secondhand heard of would be a Gingwatzam, but as to my knowledge, there are no confirmed cases of such creatures. More of a folklore story.
Sorry, a what?
A Gingwadzam, didn't you hear him?
What's up?
Can't say I'm familiar with that creature.
Well,
I don't
yeah,
think I can even
I would
pronounce
like
it.
to roll an Arcana check to see if I'm familiar with that creature.
sure.
We would recommend that the Avowed stop the processing uh, of new entries and perhaps quarantine the books, stab them with silver, perhaps.
I
Don't stab
rolled
all
a-
the books. That
I rolled
seems
a
like
26
overkill.
on my Arcana check, so I probably have written a paper about these Gingwatsams.
Indeed. As it just so happens, I actually wrote a paper on that, as is occasionally Baratsun's case here. And you know about them because they are a minor nuisance. And you're surprised that you didn't recognize it on first glance, but then again, you never dealt with one personally. You were more collecting lore from other Githyanki, but they are a minor nuisance because they are ethereal beings that have the ability to take a specific physical form. So they will often be used as sort of guard dogs, booby traps in wealthy, magic users' collections, hiding amongst the rest of their treasure, so that when Githyanki would, or anyone else for that matter, would go plunder it, they would take everything back, and then, a day or so later, these one or two of these creatures from the collection would be attacking them.
That makes sense. So a day or two is their incubation time. So depending on how long these books were in the depository, it's possible that they may have been replaced after being delivered, especially since they're all brought in by 3 different people.
A most horrible possibility.
Very much so. Well, to that, Bookworm has sort of been hanging back and still investigating the bodies, but as evidence of sort of her keen ear, she sort of perks up at this. Well, that would be very concerning. This is precisely why we do not allow very, very few people that are not of the Avowed inside, so we will keep a very particularly keen eye on what's happening. It is urgent that you get to the bottom of this and understand the origin of these Gingwatsam, so that our collection is not threatened any further and we can rule out the possibility, hopefully, of internal collusion.
Can you spell that for us?
Yes.
Because I'm never going to get it.
Let's see. Now, of course, I'm going to forget how to spell them.
That's my guess.
King Watson.
Well, you did write the books, so you should know how it's
Sounds
spelled.
like an obscure.
That's how it's spelled now.
It's the Githyanki spelling, i.e., the true spelling.
Mm.
Whatever spelling you say is correct, I guess.
There are some discrepancies between Gith language and the common tongue.
An imperfect language, to be sure.
In your paper, you said they were a minor inconvenience or annoyance, though.
To a Githyanki.
Oh, great. For the rest of us, they're a major annoyance.
Well, they killed 2 of you.
I was going to say.
Regrettably.
When you say you, who exactly are you referring to?
Yeah, we took care of those pretty easily.
Materials.
Mm.
God, these people. I roll my eyes at the 2 party members who are not getting.
Roll your eyes all you wish. If it weren't for us, your brain would be in a dish.
Is poetry part of Githyanki lore as well?
Many fields of study are part of Githyanki culture.
If only they could find their way around in the woods, they'd be fine.
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, with that, Bookworm sort of shoos you away. We don't. We have the things and matter here. You go head up this investigation and follow without the walls if it should take you in that direction.
By your leave. And
Yes, madam.
All right. And so with that. You are able to head back up out of some of the depths of Candlekeep and make your way to the Court of Air, where you find the general facilities for seekers. There is the hearth that has wonderful, it's a large sort of tavern, mead hall sort of affair where some people hang out and socialize. There are, of course, quarters for seekers and visitors to make their stay more comfortable. The House of the Binder, the Temple of Agma, and copying of texts, and largely the Pillars of Pedagogy, which is where a lot of the seekers study. There are numerous rooms for private study space. And per your request, you to get a little bit more information on these particular individuals, you would know that Yularian High Scroll is probably at the House of the Binder, as they reported a religious affiliation to Agma. So that might be a reasonable place to start. Valor, no idea. They didn't indicate any sort of affiliation upon their entry form.
And I believe there's a third that we knew, Galen from the Desert Mouth Mountains.
Correct. Who is no longer present at Candlekeep. His book was the oldest, the first one turned in.
Okay. Well, let's go check out the House of the Binder to see if we can't find High Scroll.
All right. Very good.
That seems reasonable.
Remind me, which book was it, that High Scroll?
He brought in the most recent one, Mesroth's Mighty Digressions.
Okay.
Ooh.
The one written by an insane person, which this should be an interesting conversation.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, pardon me. Okay, so as you come into the House of the Binder, it is a sprawling facility that is stacked to the brim with bookbinding supplies. There is fine parchment of many different hues and grades, long skeins of leather and fine threads, everything that you would need to produce books, the high quality heavy vellum that would be used for scrolls and the like, and a number of scribes that are set about busily scribbling away on the various tomes that they are preparing in largely blank red bound leather books, as they have various tomes open next to them, and they are in the process of copying over requested materials into fresh tomes.
Are you saying that they've not figured out a magical way to copy text? We can literally create fireballs out of thin air, but we can't photocopy things?
Yes!
Magical tasks, I believe, resist copying. Otherwise, we'd have way more magical scrolls.
Exactly.
There was the one wizard, Xerox, who was able to do it,
Ooh.
but his secrets are lost to time.
Xeroxius.
Yes.
Presumably these are magical texts and not mundane texts.
It may be a mix, I would say. Baratsoon, as a wizard, you are very familiar with the House of the Binder and have probably, in fact, definitely have made use of it in order to procure some additional spells in your spell book. And you know that they offer a variety of services. The hand copying of magical text is often the only way to do it. Hand copying of smaller sort of pamphlets and whatnot is actually often cheaper for seekers who are looking for that sort of thing. So it all depends on what the person is requesting and what they're intending to do with it.
Okay, so I'm gonna look around to see if there's anybody that I don't recognize, or to see if there is anybody that I do recognize that I can ask, hey, have you heard of a person XYZ, Yularian High School?
Sure. Make a perception check. All right.
7.
So, looking around, you kind of become aware of the fact that perhaps you don't pay as much attention to the people here as you thought you did. You really more come for the content, and you suffer from a little bit of that, like, well, all materials look the same. Like, some of them have different ears, or if they have different skin, then that really helps. But as long, if they've got, sort of flesh-colored skin, it's really hard to tell them apart for you. And but after a little bit of asking around, you find someone that you're familiar with, usually does very good copying work that you've chatted with before, and are able to ask them eventually, and they'll point you over to this individual who is actually sitting beside a desk, as there is a scribe working. Sort of seems like they're sort of chatting up a conversation. They have long blonde hair that is pulled down into braids, and a very practical sort of like trousers and vest sort of attire on, and sort of points to you. Yeah, that's Eularian. They really have quite a mouth. They just don't shut up. Once you break past the shyness, like once they're talking to another scholar, they just go on and on and on.
Ooh, send in the scholars.
Yeah. I will approach this person, and we'll introduce myself as somebody who's I've looked through some of the recent additions to the library, and I saw that you had submitted this Mazeros Mighty Digressions, and I would be interested in talking with you about it, because it's certainly a fascinating text.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, I found it rather interesting, very difficult to follow. Not like most of the books that I had read back in the Font of Knowledge, but, well, information comes from many different sources and people of different backgrounds, so it was an interesting digression into some elements of the planes and the way that magic functions. I found it a rather interesting read once I got over the author's particular style. Did you find it useful in any of your work? They sort of take note of, elements of purple that you have about your attire, perhaps.
I haven't yet found any practical applications for the knowledge it contains. Where did you say that you acquired it?
Well, I acquired it on my way here from Waterdeep. You see, I am cloistered to the Font of Knowledge, a temple of Ogma located in Waterdeep. Well, it's rather silly, but I actually have read our entire collection. And so I came to Candlekeep to find out what other interesting things I could learn, get a change of pace, learn some new things. So on my way north, I passed through Baldur's Gate and shopped at the Wide there. Lovely market. Very, very loud and busy. It's very hard to hear oneself think, but they have a whole manner of things. And I picked it up at a bookseller there.
In Baldur's Gate.
Yes.
Did you bring any other?
This was how long ago about?
This was probably about 10 days ago. It's a little trek from Baldur's Gate. Took me about 5 days to get from Baldur's Gate to here, so I've been here for a little bit.
We're all overhearing this. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's reasonable.
I would like to make an insight check to see if he's telling the truth, if anyone can help, or is better than me at that. That'd be great.
I was going to say the same thing.
I am good at insight.
I just took a shot at it.
Okay.
I'll also roll.
I did badly.
All right. As you're sort of sizing up from a distance, you can see.
I think he's telling the truth.
Yeah. Looking from a distance, they are very shy. But talking to a fellow scholar is kind of opening up the book, so to speak. And they do seem sincere. There's no because Baratzun hasn't mentioned anything being wrong yet. And you don't really see those sort of telltale signs of like them being panicked before being told something is wrong. You know, so that's really probably the key giveaway to you.
Okay. I'll just keep
Um,
listening and see if I hear anything else weird.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I'm looking around and I see my maybe a head nod from my party member that yes, they believe what he's saying. So I'll just keep going here. So did anything happen? Did the book ever leave your possession prior to your arrival here? Or was it pretty much just you picked it up in the market and kept it in your pack?
Uh, well, not that I'm aware of. I did travel by caravan. You know, there are merchants that come north on their way to Neverwinter from Baldur's Gate. So I booked passage with traveling merchants. So I was in mixed company, to be sure. But no, as far as I'm aware, I had it at all times. Oh, dear me! Was it a copy, a forgery?
Uh,
My my
After a
aged
sense.
my aged compatriot is conducting research in this area and was hoping you might remember the name of the seller or the stall that you purchased it from. Um, we are trying to track down a rare bit of lore. I'm sure in his advanced age he merely forgot to ask the location.
Oh, well, unfortunately, no. As I said, the wide is very loud and noisy, and well, you know, I'm very used to libraries and soft, quiet, pleasant places where I can hear myself think. But I think that it had Dune in the name, perhaps. But I don't recall the full particulars.
Did you receive a receipt with your purchase?
No, I didn't. They charged a pretty penny for it though. 250 gold pieces for their more rare manuscripts.
Wow. For an evil monster book? That's literally what Tally says.
What?
I
He's a jokester.
yes.
No.
Our friend here is
I'm not.
We keep telling him there wasn't
Yeah.
anything about monsters in the books, but he thinks that the title suggests a monster.
I
He's
don't
not
really
a very
read.
well-read individual.
I don't really read.
Oh,
Uh,
fair.
at any rate, we're as Zokar indicated, we're pursuing a unusual line of research that this book is proving to be quite useful, and I'm sure you will be welcomed within the keep as soon as our project is completed.
Oh my goodness. Well, that would be really, really spectacular. Please do keep me apprised of anything interesting, and if I can be of any help. Like I said, I didn't really come for any particular reason, just making the most out of my stay to read everything that I can. So, if I can help at all, definitely let me know.
Mr. High Scroll, if I may, in that caravan you were traveling with amongst merchants, did any of those folks end up here in the Court of Air or at the keep as well alongside you? Did anybody disembark at the same time as you?
No, it was just myself who got off the caravans and made my way along the way of the lion up to the candle door. So no, just myself for the last 2 or 3 miles.
And during those days since you departed the Wide and were traveling with the caravan, anything strange happen at all? Did you feel strangely at all between the time that you gave you acquired the book and gave it up to Candlekeep?
Maybe any missing time you can't account for.
Be abducted by aliens.
No, should I be concerned?
Not at all.
We're the ones asking the questions here.
Oh, yes, certainly.
I turn to him and I turn to you and I say, "This guy's just a rube. He
Yeah,
has no idea."
I'm ready to leave this poor scholar alone. I can recognize an academic when I
Yeah,
see
he's
one.
got no idea. He's just a pawn in this drama.
All right. Well, with that, they go back to their business and pay more attention to Parrot soon. Like I said, let me know if I can be of any help. And very well. Okay. Ta-ta.
Adios.
Ta-ta, you say. Meow.
I couldn't pass up the opportunity to say we're the one asking the questions here.
My goodness, you're real subtle there. So clearly, he's just a dupe. Like, I mean, unless our insight rolls are all incorrect, and this guy's secretly a criminal mastermind, someone is. This is confusing to me because how did the person who sold him the book know that he was going to get it here and it would be murdering people?
Baldur's Gate is the nearest large town likely to have a place selling large books.
Yeah,
I would
it's entirely possible that we're reading more into this. Like it could just be a person at a stall who likes selling cursed books. Like
That's true,
there
and they
might have
know
been
where
no
they're gonna go.
intention of having it end up here.
Yeah.
And we're just the recipient of them because we are a recipient of books.
For all we know, there could be similar attacks in Waterdeep or any of the other northern towns if it's coming from that central location. Or it could be a coordinated attack. We have to discuss with Valor and see what they say.
Given my background, have I heard anything from where am I from again? Neverwinter about attacks like this? I have a contact there that I keep in touch with.
Probably not.
Okay.
You know, it is, you know, given the nature of your contact, they're in tune with certain things going on, and you know, it's not unheard of for a collector of various backgrounds to encounter something that is problematic, be it from a curse or what have you. But there's been no particular pattern of late, nothing beyond the normal level that you might expect in that sort of trade.
Okay. I won't say anything because it's not relevant, but just curious.
Fair enough.
All right, I say we track down the other person and see if there's any consistencies with these two stories. Maybe he also got his book in Baldur's Gate or something to that effect.
Or just see if he's equally as guileless as this person, and that means the conspiracy is somehow not with the carriers.
This is Valor, right?
Yeah, did we get some information about Valor?
She is a tiefling from Cormyr.
Oh, Purple Knight.
That's about as much as I have.
Okay.
But we didn't know where in the Court of Air she is at the moment.
No.
Well, how many tieflings can there be?
I was gonna say, yeah, tiefling should be, especially dressed in the colors of her country, should be pretty easy to spot.
Fair enough. All right. Make a charisma investigation check, I suppose, if you guys are sort of like asking around, that sort of thing.
I'm pretty good at that.
Go for it.
A charisma investigation check? I don't even know what that means.
So you would roll, if you're proficient with investigation, then you can roll charisma and add, oh, well, there we go.
Never mind. You took care of it. Thank you. I was just trying to figure out what the rule was.
No worries, no worries. So after not too much asking around, there are people who sort of recognize who you must be referring to, that she kind of keeps to herself, so she hasn't made much of an impression, but she's pretty much always at the hearth. She doesn't prefer to study in a private study room. She's doing her reading just right there in the hearth. People will let you know. And so as you head into the hearth, which is this definitely bigger on the inside tavern that sort of, you know, fits into this nice cozy space at the edge of the Court of Air. You step in through the doors that are frequently open. There is a roaring fire at the center. It's always the perfect temperature in the hearth, and the sprawling space within, tables, you know, some of them tucked away in corners with armchairs, others a sort of longer affair with benches and whatnot. You see in one corner, sitting in a very large armchair, is an ogre, very daintily has a book in one hand and is like has a pair of tweezers that he is turning the pages with as he's reading, and there's a very high table next to him with some tea on it. Being in the middle of or probably about noon by this point, early in the day, there's not much of a crowd, so it's pretty easy to spot. A little ways off from center at a table is a tiefling with pale green skin and black antlers, kind of like a bull horns, sitting at a table with a couple books open in front of her, the remnants of breakfast, and a large tankard of some sort of drink.
How full is the tankard?
As you approach, it seems to be probably about halfway full.
Well, I will go to the bar and ask the barkeep to give me a full tankard, 2 full tankards, because 1 for me, of whatever that person is having.
All right.
Breakfast cider.
Yeah,
And
cider.
I'll get them, and I'm not going to interrupt yet, but I'll wait till we're in the midst of interrupting, and I'll butter her up with them.
Fair enough.
Well, this seems a more, rough and tumble character. Perhaps you would be the better one to approach.
Certainly. I'll walk up and I'll just clear my throat.
And she sort of looks up at you and has this sort of like, there's kind of a twist to the corner of her mouth that's just sort of this perpetual sort of smirk or scowl. She looks up at you. Yep.
Are you Valor?
Yep.
Are you aware that the book you brought here turned into a magical creature and killed someone?
She sort of cocks her head. Well, no, that's quite a development. And who are
Maybe
you?
I need a drink. At that moment, I come in and I replace her half-empty drink with a full drink.
Yeah, buy her a drink
Probably
after.
my vote for a new drink.
I am Zokar of the Candlekeep Outsource Commission, charged with investigating the murder of one of Candlekeep's residents, the primary suspect of which is you.
Hence the drink.
It might be your last one.
She looks at Tally and like very pointedly shoves the drink away. I only drink things that I'm responsible for.
More for you, Tally.
Fine with me.
Drink up.
You brought in... Oh, what was the name of the book?
The
Dark
Hunger.
Hunger.
Yes. And you say that it's transformed a book.
Into something that said, I'm hungry, feed me, and then it ate someone. You didn't think titling it The Dark Hunger was a little on the nose?
We really should have known, to be honest.
Presumably she didn't write the book.
She does actually sort of chuckle at that. Well, condolences to the victim, of course, but that is a little bit funny. You have to admit that's a little bit funny.
I can assure you I'm laughing on the inside. Back to you.
Yes.
You seem to be indicating that you were not aware that you brought in a book that murdered someone. So perhaps you could tell us where you acquired this book.
You are quite right. I certainly wouldn't be stupid enough in my line of work to do something so ridiculously incriminating, and then stick around to be responsible for it. I'm not that much of an idiot.
And make a plot.
What is that line of work exactly?
I get things that need to be gotten. Mostly people. Mostly people.
Bounty hunter.
Bounty hunter, hired security, it's semantics.
Tomato.
Pay is a lot better
So
than
no
the
one
Purple
hired
Knights.
no one hired you to murder some guards in Candlekeep, I assume.
No, certainly not.
Fair enough.
That'd be
Then
below
as a
my pay
getter-
grade.
Then as a getter of people, why are you here?
Getting my
Is that where
target.
she got the book. Yeah.
I guess I'm not putting together what she's saying, because she gets people. She didn't kill someone. I don't think she killed someone, but she doesn't know that. But like, so she's here. So you purchased an expensive book to gain access to here. 1, why, and 2, where from?
Well, I was most recently in Baldur's Gate, and they have a rather large market, reeks of greed and corruption, but you can find any number of things there, and I was fortunate enough to get my hands on a rare tome about some nonsense with distant stars and nonsense, but it seemed like the sort of thing that would get me into Candlekeep so that I could do important research for my line of work.
From whom did you buy it?
I frankly wasn't paying much attention.
Maybe something with a dune in the name?
Perhaps. I honestly couldn't tell you.
Can you give us any clue as to this stall's location within the marketplace? So surely an experienced tracker like yourself has a basic sense of direction.
Yes, I can tell you that it was in the less reputable area. The Wide is a very large market, and at its center are very upstanding merchants who pride themselves on their reputations, easy leverage. And on some of the outskirts, there are less reputable dealers. I managed to acquire this from one.
Wow, good purchase. Well done.
Well, getting into Candlekeep is tricky. Sometimes you need to go through back channels to find something less trafficked in.
Yeah, monster books. Monster books are very, very rarely trafficked in.
And how much did you pay for this tome?
Pretty some. 250 gold pieces.
Oh, there it is.
Interesting. Okay.
That's the going rate for a monster book, or so we've heard.
Interesting. So are you implying that this is a consistent problem with this individual?
Let's just say you're not the only one to have brought in a tome that didn't have a proper place in our library.
Monster book.
We must thank you. You've been very helpful to our investigation.
Can you give us any information about this person you bought it from? Are they human, elven?
Human, probably from the east, sort of desert climate. They had very tanned skin, bleached hair, sort of desert weathered appearance to them.
Surfer bum, I get it.
When you came to Candlekeep and handed the book over, do you remember who took it from you?
One of the priests at the gate, as is typical.
Don't remember which one, what their name was, what they looked like.
Collectively, they wear pretty complete robes. There was, I think, a human, a half-elf, and I couldn't pin down the other two.
And I kind of like lean into her a little bit and say, look, in your line of work, you're good at what you do. Have you heard anything weird, unusual going around as you're kind of hanging out in this tavern?
Make a persuasion check. Make a persuasion check.
Ooh, I like it.
So I just click persuasion, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, you've got a keen sense. There's a reason I prefer to do my research in a tavern where there are loose tongues, rather than studying in some stuffy room. But no, I haven't heard anything of that particular bend. Now, are we done? Can you get out of my hair?
I have no further questions.
Yeah, I don't. Has anyone incited this person? Just FYI?
Probably should.
FY insight?
Yeah, I'll just do I'll do an insight and just see anything weird about her story.
I'm sure it's fine, but
Hey, no, she seems like a trustworthy individual, guys. Nothing wrong.
She's a little squirrely. She's hard to read. You're not really sure what's going on with her.
That's better.
Tally, however, realizes precisely why she's squirrely. She's a fucking bounty hunter.
Yeah. No, I get that.
And
Unwelcome in Baldur's Gate. Or unwelcome in Candlekeep.
not especially, you know, ironically,
It's a dirty job, but somebody has to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Indeed.
I would further caution you, Lady Valor, that there are certain persons in Candlekeep who are beyond reproach or contract, and should they go missing shortly before you do, you might have another conversation with the Candlekeep Outsource Commission. I appreciate our time together and hope that that is not the case.
Don't murder anyone important.
Of course not. I'm here for research. And Tally, actually, with that insight check, part of sort of sizing up the scene, you realize that the two books in front of her are actually some biographies. Like, she's reading about people.
Which people?
Make a history check. Are you proficient in history?
Well, that's a fair question. I'll let you know in about 10 seconds. I have to change a lot of windows.
Bird law.
I am proficient in history.
All right, make a history check then.
Well, so much for that.
Pretty much all that you can surmise is she's reading about they're both a noble or there's sort of noble connections. These are like well-to-do families of some sort.
And we'll have to keep that in mind, but hopefully she won't murder them before the end of this mystery. Okay, well, so as before, Arub, I say to the group, not very quietly because I don't really like her. A mere tool, a mere courier. There doesn't seem to be any intention behind these books.
But a familiar story emerges.
Indeed. So then the question
lucrative
becomes,
one, if my hunch is correct.
Which hunch?
That there's no underlying motive other than getting foolish people to overpay for monstrous books that kill
Seems like
their
an
owners.
odd business model.
We should at least let the Avowed know that they can reopen entrance as long as they have completely ascertained that the book did not make its way here from Baldur's Gate.
I mean,
Agreed.
I feel like a large number probably do, just given its proximity. Is
It's right there.
Do we leave Candlekeep?
Yeah?
Do we have free? Can we get back in?
Yep.
Really?
Oh, yeah,
Or
yeah.
do we have to bring the book every time?
Oh, that'd be a funny way to...
$1.25 every time.
That would be
We're going to go find this person, murder them, take their inventory of cursed books, and use it to get back.
Yeah.
They're fine. Trust us. It's fine.
No, you are allowed to come and go freely from Candlekeep as part of your work.
So yeah, I mean, the obvious next step is to go to the Baldur's Gate market and track this jerk face down.
That was,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't want to assume, like, if we couldn't leave, if we were bound to the place, so to speak, the relationship, the employment contract is unclear. I
envision us like that knight in Indiana Jones who can't step outside. You can't take the grail outside the boundaries, or the whole thing just collapses. If we leave, the world just falls apart.
Oh my god. No, the whole point is that you do leave. You take care of business that are outside of the walls. So
let's go take care of some business.
Well,
The boss is probably like,
this
why
is a week's journey away, so before we leave, we probably ought to make sure there's no other leads that we should follow up on.
Probably tell our boss, right? I mean,
Probably should.
not to be too hard.
probably should. Will we? Separate conversation.
I'll
we
quick.
could even simply talk to some of the Avowed who've been here for years and decades and see if anything similar has ever happened, or who might be enemies of Candlekeep. I think there's a lot more we could still ask before
I think
embarking.
probably the people who are checking these books in probably have some sort of relationships with booksellers and ways of checking the authenticity of these things. So that's a really good line of inquiry. I think we should probably just take like a 5-minute bio break.
Sure.
I definitely need one.
Yeah.
Just like other people are.
Back from our little bio break. It's important, remember, folks, when you're at home playing D&D, give people breaks, especially online. Online fatigue is real. All right.
Much like your COVID plants, we need to be fed and watered.
Or just force them to endure and give them levels of exhaustion.
That's a nice Windale, though.
Fair.
All right. So, the party was contemplating leaving Candlekeep for Baldur's Gate.
But we wanted to kind of think about other things to kind of loose ends to close up first. I think.
Yes, exhaust all leads.
Sounds good.
Maybe talk with the chief book examiner or whatever his actual title is.
Fair enough. Kind of Bookworm's responsibility. Bookworm is broadly responsible for the security and integrity of Candlekeep's collection. So the priests of Denier within the Avowed that man the front gate ultimately report to her. But of course, there is a large collection of them that take up shifts at the front gate that you could go interact with them now or try to speak with Bookworm, whatever your preference may be there.
Because I imagine, if I recall from the intro thing, that all the books that come in have to pass some kind of testing. So maybe we could figure out who was on duty for that every time one of these books came in.
I think that these books haven't been tested yet. They've just been sort of accepted into a depository for or pending testing, and that's why these two individuals we interviewed are still outside the gates.
The other issue, guys, we haven't really thought about this, is are we concerned at all that there's any other books pending that are gonna cause death and destruction, or that have come in? I don't know if there's anything between the time we shut things down and the time we got the books. Like, we should just make sure.
I suggested they stab everything with silver, which is usually effective against
I'm
destruction.
not sure that A will work or B is a good idea, because you know how these people feel about books. They're not going to do it.
I think some kind of obviously quarantine between, of any books that have come in since the first attack happened, because it obviously interacting with the book itself is what spurred it to.
I think the books are still sitting in our office.
Correct. So yeah,
I assume that all of the Avowed are wise enough to know to not enter our office.
Well, I'm sure other books might be coming in as we speak, so hopefully they're going into our office.
Well, we told them to shut it down, but we should probably, at least on our way out, confirm they've actually done that.
Yeah, or we could go talk with the preliminary investigators right now, see if they've accepted anything recently. And see how it's possible that books like these could have, been entered into the collection in the first place.
We're shocked they can be so flagrantly negligent.
Also, as an aside, how much trade with Baldur's Gate? Like, would there be, because we're going to Baldur's Gate, would there be a need for us to do other things when we were in Baldur's Gate, or are we completely semi-autonomous?
You're detached. You're semi-autonomous. You take care of whatever your assignment is, and Candlekeep's general business is the job of other people.
What about like a caravan or something, like for supplies?
Um,
Or is that pretty rare?
yeah, that would be pretty rare. Candlekeep is generally supplied by food, somewhat magically in some cases, as there are many people
Sure.
magically gifted here, and then also partially from rural farms in the immediate vicinity that sort of come to sell their crops here and their livestock.
All right.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to make it on our own, guys.
So, so we need to gather our own supplies. We need to question the people. That seems like something we could probably split the party for. I believe, if my knowledge of Baldur's Gate 1 still serves me, that there's the road to Baldur's Gate, and then there's a forest you can walk through.
And the Friendly Arm Inn.
Yes, of course, the friendly arm in.
That saves at least a day off the journey.
Also, I think there's a broken caravan somewhere on the right lower side.
Yes.
God, we're nerds. I do wonder, is there any kind of resources available to us in our police capacity that could make this travel faster? Like
horses?
Do we have a wagon? We are vaguely official.
Yeah, no, that is entirely up to you. There are several ways that you could make your way to Baldur's Gate. Obviously, you can travel by foot, which would be about a 5-day journey. You can travel by cart, which would be about a 3-day journey, or you could ride individual horses, which would be about a 2-day journey.
I don't know that I'm able to ride an individual horse, but I love the idea of taking a cart. A cart sounds lovely.
Can someone magic us there?
Magical cart, magical self-propelled cart with like armaments and extra dimensional space, high on my list of to-do things.
Yeah, yep. For now, it would just be a horse-drawn cart. The final option, fourth option, is you are on the coast. You could travel by boat. You're not sure how readily possible that is. You've actually never, I don't think you will have seen docks at Candlekeep. You know, the walls just sort of come up to the cliffs and it's a sheer drop down. But ostensibly, traveling by boat would be a way if that was an option.
I think a cart seems less complicated.
One day the cart will turn into a boat. Not be restricted.
I think a cart seems reasonable. I'm just saying that we should be able to do something other than walking.
I too vote for cart.
I think when we go into town, we should look like just normal people, so people don't think we're coming from Candlekeep as well.
Yeah. So you're saying we shouldn't have badges on?
Our purple robes of office.
Yeah, like put on some Groucho glasses.
I was gonna spray paint our initials of our organization on the side of the card.
Well, with the subtlety with which you've been interrogating people, I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm not a very subtle creature, I gotta say.
I am able to make alterations to my appearance, but doing so leaves me less prepared to deal with threats like man-eating books if we choose to go that route. My time in Baldur's Gate, while not as evolved as the patrons of Candlekeep, I was able to more or less pass within the city, only being hassled by the guards at a truly inappropriate number of times.
Ugh, guards. I don't think that we should necessarily disguise ourselves. At least I don't know any of us. Maybe I'm missing it, but I don't think any of us are super known in Baldur's Gate. Yeah. But I agree that we should not make our police function obvious.
Oh right. Gosh, you know what I've completely forgot? I have the Baldur's Gate sage background.
Oh, okay.
Baldur's Gate sage background. So via
exactly who this guy is and where he is.
Yeah, via my personal rumor mill and articles published in Baldur's Mouth, you can surmise a great deal of Baldarian secrets. Whenever a noteworthy crime or mysterious happening occurs, you immediately have a list of 1d4 suspects who, if they aren't involved, have a strong chance of knowing who that is.
Back up. I'm sorry. I hate to bring this up. But you said articles published in Baldur's Mouth, and we've established that books are transcribed by hand. So what exactly are we talking about here? Unless they are transcribing the newspaper by hand every day.
There can be Okay, there's a difference between the artisanal service and the high pride of scholarism that Candlekeep ascribes to versus
I see.
elsewhere.
There's Pulp magazine.
I was gonna say there is definitely like Pulp magazine. There are printing presses, and there are magical means of reproduction that Candlekeep might just look down their nose at these sort of things.
Just making
Well,
sure.
if they were magically reproduced, if they weren't instantaneous spells, then they could be dispelled, and that would be horrible.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough. Okay, so you can find things out. That's very cool.
So yeah, so my rumor mongers. Do I immediately connect the name Dune to some sort of magical bookseller or magical troublemaker?
I would say off the top of your head, presently no. From your background and your previous experience, that name would not ring a bell. You can reconnect with your contacts upon arrival in the city and see if there might be updated information. But from your backstory, not yet.
And they
Gotcha. Okay, so
they did say they thought Dune, so maybe it's sandy desert something.
Yeah, they mentioned that they might have been tan desert people. So there's a couple of points of connection there. One, and then I'll convey. I spent when I first arrived to begin my magical studies a great deal of time in Baldur's Gate. I still should have contacts there. I should be able to as soon as we get there make some polite reintroductions, and hopefully we should not have to tarry long there.
And that reminds me of a thread that I thought of earlier. The one person who dropped off the book and isn't around anymore, they presumably left without gaining admittance to Candlekeep, because
No.
Oh.
So I think you guys might be misunderstanding what's happening. So someone comes to the front gates of Candlekeep and presents their book, sometimes a couple, because they want to make sure that they get in, presents their book for admittance. And the priests of Denier, who are at the front gate, do a sort of a vetting of the book. So they will primarily just find out whether or not the book, the library already has a copy of this book, because that's the real criteria. You have to bring something that is noteworthy and valuable, and we don't already have it. So the priests are primarily checking for that, and they will also generally be able to pick up obvious things like big curses or illusion magic that is just directly on the book.
Well, they missed this one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a polymorphed creature, that's a pretty rare thing that might just not be on their radar, but you can certainly ask them about that. Assuming that the priests of Denier find your book to be acceptable, then you are let in to the Court of Air. And the Court of Air is where you stay. Whatever research you are interested in doing, the Avowed will bring books out to you. Almost nobody goes inside Candlekeep proper. The books come to you in the Court of Air.
Like, we're not even in the Candlekeep proper either, really.
No,
right? Our like area is kind of like medium in between, or
you are.
We're not like going up and down the Dewey Decimal System, are we?
You actually are. Yeah, you are within.
Okay.
You are within exaltation.
We be fancy.
Yeah, you are permitted in. You are sort of an annex, an adjacent element to the Avowed themselves. So you are permitted anywhere within reason. But 99% of seekers who come to visit, they stay in the Court of Air, and materials are brought over to them. Once in a blue moon, a seeker who has a very strong reputation with Candlekeep and a very legitimate reason might be brought in to Candlekeep proper for some specified reason of study. But 99% of the time, they just stay in the Court of Air. So the fact that this third person is no longer here probably means that they were admitted into the Court of Air, they studied whatever it was that they came here to answer, got what they needed, and departed.
Makes sense.
Before their book ate anybody. Got it. Well, and it seems, given the price, I mean, let me make, this is sort of a world insight question,
Mm-hmm.
which is, is 250 gold pieces a reasonable amount to find a real book that would be something Candlekeep would want? Is that too high? Is that too low? Is that normal? In other words, is there any indication from the price that these people are doing something abnormal, or is this seems plausible?
It is on the low side of average. It's like, oh, this is a good deal. You know, someone who is looking to purchase a book for Candlekeep rather than one that they've found themselves or written or what have you. If they're looking to purchase something, they're probably already planning to spend 300.
Got it. So that may give some insight into this person's motive, because if they're selling very, very expensive books and they're selling them on the cheap because they're cursed, you know, as someone I think said earlier, there may be some indication that they think some of them will make it to Candlekeep, or they're just trying to make extra money. Who knows?
It's also worth noting, like, if my understanding of Faerunian money is accurate, 250 is like places it firmly outside of the reach of most people.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's like a life savings for a commoner.
If that, like a commoner can, depending on their line of work, they can, you know, have one gold piece to spare over saving up an entire year.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so what other loose ends do we need to tie down aside from making sure the entrance people are being picky?
The last thing that we could try and do is try and find out if anyone else has had access to the depository. Just see if it's possible that these books were replaced after having arrived.
Before we go for a 3-day journey.
Yes, that's a good point.
All right. So, that would be Baratzun. I think that you would just sort of intuitively understand. You would probably be checking with the front gate, the Priests of Denier, or Bookworm herself would be the way to get that answer.
Yeah, I say we go to the priests because I think we have a few questions for them, and they're the most likely people to maybe notice if anything is amiss that didn't get reported until now.
Mm-hmm.
Given our status, the most likely to give us straight answers.
And who is in charge of the priests most directly?
A Bookworm.
Oh, well then they'll give us straight answers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are a very important function of Candlekeep, you know, because they are the acquisition strategy, you know. They're making sure that quality material is coming into Candlekeep. At least from
not a sustainable economy, by the way. I'm just pointing that out.
I mean, thousands of books are written every year.
Yeah.
Not books of merit that the Candlekeep people think are worthwhile. Also, they're going to run out of library space eventually. They don't have microfilm.
No.
It's magic.
It's
they can
magic.
just
Yeah,
expanding.
we have
Just
bags of
harder
holding
another
for
wing.
Sure, a bag of holding holds a lot of books.
Yeah.
Here's a demi plane of books.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, even the hearth is bigger on the inside, and it's just a social space.
Wibbly wobbly.
Right. So, to the priests.
All right, so you come to the front gates of Candlekeep, and there are 4 priests of Denier in full purple robes of the Avowed. They actually have, like, you know, the hats and sort of, you know, these cowls around their faces and holy symbols of Denier hanging upon, and they have, you know, fine sort of silver scrolling on the edges of their robes. There are presently no seekers seeking admittance. There is, you can see inside the gatehouse, another one of those lead-lined carts, and there's like 3 books inside that have been set aside per your instructions, isolated.
Did they look secure enough to stop what we saw emerge?
Not when they're open, but theoretically, when they're closed and latched.
And
I would like to investigate them, do some Arcana checks, and now that I maybe know what to look for, see if these are similarly ensorcelled.
I will think thoughts at them. loudly.
Oh,
have-
I understand.
Full telepathy, but you know what I'm saying. I'm trying to engage them and
Uh-huh.
see if there's a reaction.
I will
Okay.
also think thoughts of them, but it will have no effect.
Zokar, make it just a straight up charisma check out of curiosity. And we have a 20 Arcana from Baratzun. Okay. Zokar, focus your mind. Just think very intently about like the finest snacks that you can conjure up to try and be like, you're hungry, aren't you? You want some food? And nothing seems to happen. As
Pickled gnome.
Yep. And Baratzun, taking a look, you don't find anything out of the ordinary. It's unfortunate because obviously you didn't really necessarily get the chance to study the book prior to its transformation, but everything seems to be in order. You're not finding any of those little sort of like not deja vu, but something that doesn't add up. You're familiar with books and the way that the bindings are often put together and that sort of stuff. So nothing seems unreasonable.
How many priests are there about right now?
There are 4. Yeah. And they will inform you that there are always 4. They so that they have the proper spell casting capacity and collective knowledge to ascertain books that are coming in.
Is one of them like kind of more off by themselves than the other ones?
Make a insight check.
I'll help you.
Okay. They have collectively have sort of stood off to the side and just sort of let you go about your work. You are definitely picking up on a little bit of perturbedness. They don't seem to be the biggest fan of you lot, but they know that they sort of have to, sort of stand out of the way and let you do your business. But there doesn't seem to be anything dishonest or nefarious. They're just sort of, there's a little bit of professional bristling that you can pick up on.
All right, I think we ought to ask them some questions that maybe even let them know that some of the books they accepted recently have turned out to been tainted by
Monster books.
fell magics.
We always lead with this.
Monster books.
So
It's terrifying. Monster books.
I will maybe pull one aside and say, you've probably noticed that something is astir. Some of the books that were in the depository came alive and attacked the guardsmen as well as myself and my fellow investigators. How is this possible?
Well, our means of examination are not 100% foolproof. This is a human with sort of tanned skin, and he's got these very piercing blue eyes that are just sort of, scrutinizing you and bristling a little bit. Our methods are not foolproof, obviously. We are just preliminary vetting. Once things are admitted, they go through the full process of indexing and further study to catch some deeper elements that might not be apparent on first blush. A polymorphing creature is not a thing that we are generally on the lookout for. We do have a test that reveals the presence of a mimic, but just that particular species of shape changer, as that was a bit of a problem about 8 to 9 years ago. There was a rash of mimic books.
Oh,
I want to hear that story.
Yeah, no, was the cause or source of these books ever determined?
I think it was rather a bit of a practical joke. Someone had found a mimic colony and they were dispensing these books about, really more as a practical joke. We had it was primarily a arcane order of sages that had come into possession of them, and they would send their scholars, and they would try to get in with one of those books first, and then eventually when we caught on, they had spares on hand, but they would try to get away with the mimic first.
Was anyone murdered?
No. By our security standards and whatnot, a mimic is a much more manageable threat.
That's what I assume, but I'm
Oh.
just checking.
Barat Zun has written a book on Gigwatsim. Perhaps you could direct that to them so that they could be on the lookout for these.
I think it was an article.
I will certainly provide them
At
with
all.
all of my knowledge on the subject and how to identify them in the future. I don't blame you for missing these, as you say, you're not trained to look for them, but at 3 occurrences, this is certainly a pattern to be on the watch out or on the watch for.
Until we return, we might recommend questioning the purchase location of these books and barring anything from Baldur's Gate. In fact, be careful in handling anything from Baldur's Gate.
Just don't take anything from Baldur's Gate. Just make them camp outside.
Very well. We will do precisely that. As of yet today, we have had no seekers petitioning from Baldur's Gate, so we are in fair circumstances there, but we shall continue to be on the lookout for that, and now that we are apprised of the threat, per Bookworm's instructions, we have alternative means of screening to, and also to isolate any books, regardless of whether we detect something amiss or not.
Well, it sounds like you're on top of it then.
About as effective as TSA.
Take off your shoes.
Sounded a little defensive. Am I allowed to ask for an insight check, or do I believe him, or can I?
I would say your previous insight check is carrying through pretty well here. You don't need to necessarily refresh it on this particular thing. But yes, that would have been an opportune moment for you to say, hey, I'd like to insight that. And then it would be up to me to decide whether I need a fresh roll or if we'll just carry forward. And so from your previous 24, this seems to be the sort of continued, professional bristling.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me just say, I think that what you've got here is it's a really stressful job. Candlekeep is the hub of knowledge across. I almost said Ferelden, which is from Dragon Age. What is this? Faerun.
Faerun. Mm-hmm.
Faerun.
All the same.
I mean, gosh, is there any? Are you ever scared working at the front gate here and kind of taking a look at all these things? Has anybody ever targeted Candlekeep or anything like that before?
I'm not sure that we've necessarily had deliberate targeting. That's sort of above my pay grade and expertise there. But we have dealt in dangerous books, largely unbeknownst to the one who carried them. Latent curses that would only activate in the presence of a particular species, perhaps, or a particular faith. We did have one time a book that responded specifically to us. It was an ancient artifact that had a strong hatred for priests of Denier and followers thereof. So we suffered greatly for that. But we have prepared means to take care of such curses and magical threats that are common. We have a lot of cure-alls, as it were.
It's worth noting that the Githyanki have tried to raid Candlekeep many times and never succeeded. There's very few places that can say that.
Until now.
We're going to approach this time around.
He sort of squints at you suspiciously.
Oh, I'm already inside, priest.
So, anything else we need to do before we depart across the wilderness?
I guess.
The Armin and the dead caravan.
Have you guys got any books recently from Baldur's Gate? I don't know if we've asked that yet.
No.
Oh yes, that's a good question.
Not today, at least.
Right.
Yeah. So, have you guys got any other books from Baldur's Gate lately?
They until today. And until today, they have not been asking that sort of question. They do record where the seekers themselves hail from, but the precise origins of their book is not a standard question. Sometimes it might come up in the conversation, but they have sort of changed that approach.
Change your standard procedures. I'm glad you
Yeah.
The Candlekeep Outsource Commission recommends this as a change immediately. See that it's implemented.
Yeah, policy change right now.
Check the provenance of all unique books. That presumably any book at this point is rare enough that it should have a provenance.
Yes, though the person giving it to them might resist giving the provenance because then, they think that someone else was going to buy the book. But in any case.
Yes, but then they don't get to enter.
Exactly. We've got the gates, therefore we get to make the rules.
Exactly.
Very good.
All right.
Off to Baldur's Gate.
Cart it is.
Cart, rations,
yeah.
couple of torches, bedrolls, whatever that costs us to rent.
1,000 ball
We have
bearings.
to pay for it. I think that's part of our allotment.
Mm-hmm.
We tell our boss what we're up to, but I don't
have an
feel the need to have a
expensive
conversation with him unless he wants to say anything before we head out.
Expenses.
Do you have to save the receipts?
I'd like a very nice cart, preferably with some kind of velvet cushion.
Well, as you are searching through the stables, is there? I think that there's a thing. Also the binder.
The cart depot, as it were.
Smithy and stable. Oh no, it's yeah. Anyway, the smithy and stables and whatnot do have a couple of options. There is a sort of open cart, your typical sort of almost like hay cart sort of vibe. There is a canvas covered wagon, and there is also a stagecoach.
Yes.
Yeah, that's more like it. We're not pioneers and we're not hay riders.
Fair enough.
I think a stagecoach seems more the right vibe.
You don't think we need to ford the river or anything like that?
If so, we can do it in a stagecoach.
It's a 3-day journey. We're not like going all the way to the desert here. It's a 3-day journey.
Yeah, but do you want to be in an open cart in a 3-day journey? What if it rains?
3 days there and then 3 days back.
If we're assaulted by brigands, an open cart would allow us to return fire more easily.
There's windows in the stagecoach.
I
Not a
can
lot.
climb on top and shoot.
I'm all for a covered private conveyance.
Also,
Yeah.
what's the weather like? What time of year are we in? Are we like midwinter?
Welcome to episode
spring,
3,
summer.
designing a bespoke stagecoach for the party.
That's
I have
coming.
my to-do list.
That's coming. It is probably at this point it is probably mid-spring. So rain would certainly not be out of the question. Weather is on the chilly side at night as of yet. And so yeah, the stagecoach does not have a lot in the way of windows. It's really just on the doors. So visibility from the inside is pretty restricted. There is the
Cut a window in the side, for God's sake. That's very strange.
All right, you can either have a stagecoach with few windows, or you can have the covered wagon. You can't go messing around with somebody
We won't
else.
get our deposit back.
Yeah, we won't get our deposit back.
Well, fair enough. A covered wagon is just fine. I need a roof over my head. This cat does not like water.
I think the covered wagon's probably fine.
Yeah.
All right.
And do any of you know how to change a wagon wheel? Because I feel like that's going to come up.
We're
Yeah.
all going to get dysentery.
Yes, I know how to change a wagon wheel. A's.
I've never had to do one in my life.
Yeah, I don't know. But if we shoot a bison, we'll be able to haul the entire carcass behind us.
You killed
That's true.
500 pounds of meat. You're only able to carry 2 back to the wagon. I always felt so bad about those in elementary school.
By the way, if someone wants to do a really good one-shot, they should do an Oregon Trail themed D&D one-shot. Why has no one done this before?
Merciless.
I would pay real American currency for that.
Hit me up on Start Playing, folks.
Just saying.
Oh man. All right. So
Yeah, we start it up. We get 2 young, but adult horses that look like they have been sturdy and are good workhorses.
Okay.
Were there,
Where were you going with this?
They looked that they've been sturdy in the past. What they are now, we don't know.
wait,
No, but I mean, there's
Zokar,
something that you're looking for in a overland horse, and that's what we're looking for.
what were their names, Zokar? What are the horses' names?
The horses' names? I don't speak horse.
No, I mean you.
Horse one and horse two.
Well,
Susan?
obviously
Left horse
Susan.
and right horse.
Yeah, Susan's one.
Obviously Susan.
Susan.
Yep.
And
Susan too.
Susan too.
Susan too.
No.
Good. Good.
Susan is actually the Githyanki word for horse, but it's Suzanne.
If anyone cares, there is a fantasy horse name generator.
Oh my.
Do you want some horse
Whoever
names?
invented the
No.
fantasy name blank generator is just
One of the options is
Great.
Sparkle Bolt, which I particularly like.
I
Done.
like Sparkle a lot.
Sparkle Bolt. Susan and Sparkle Bolt. Very good. All right, so Susan and Sparkle Bolt are lashed up to your covered wagon, which is filled with whatever camping supplies you deem necessary. And how much food how many days of food per person?
An 8-day food supply.
Yeah, I think that seems right.
You can always get more in Baldur's Gate if necessary.
Sounds good. All right. And
I hate to ask this question because it's sure as hell not me. Who's driving this wagon?
Not me.
I have land vehicles proficiency.
Yay!
I can prepare.
good. Good. I love it. I love it.
I'm proficient in cart.
Nice.
Good. All right. So with
Sounds like it's a language when you say it that way.
So with that, you are able to load yourselves up and head out on your cart with Zokar in the driver's seat. And is there anyone in the bench next to him or on the back, or is everyone else sort of, inside?
Oh, I'm for sure curled up on the back.
I'll sit up front with him.
Okay.
As a reward for sitting up, I will, on the day's journey out, whenever the next sleep is. I don't know if we're departing at first light or if we're departing now in the middle of the day. But at first light, I will infuse his crossbow.
Sharp bow.
Never mind then. You weren't going to get it. You don't get
Sure.
it. That's all right. Are you proficient with hand crossbows or light crossbows?
Yeah, I can do both, I think.
I will hand you my light crossbow, which I will infuse to make raiders, which they didn't want us to pay attention. So you have a repeating light infused crossbow until I tell you you don't anymore.
Ooh.
Wow.
Ooh.
Thank you. This is
Of my own invention, yes.
You said light crossbow?
Yeah, that's what I have on me is a light crossbow. With
Well, thank you.
With the artificer's repeating infusion, so it's +1 and it ignores the loading property, I believe is the whole
Well,
Which
Well,
no one
thank
pays
you.
much attention to anyway, so good.
I took 2 feats in my last campaign to ignore that.
Yep. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's correct that we should pay more attention to it, but,
He says that because it was my campaign.
well, some people pay attention to it. I mean, if you feel like infusing something for the cat, they won't say no.
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 I figured
There will come a time where I will infuse something for each of you, but person riding literal shotgun needs a shotgun. This is important.
that makes good sense.
Very good.
thank you. I'll make good use of this.
I think we should start out at first light. The immediate danger seems to be past, and we could all probably use a nap, me most of all.
I mean, I feel like it's only been a few hours basically since the day began.
I was gonna say it's about noon by the time you've had all of these conversations.
Night.
Yeah, I think
Off we
can
go.
set out today if there's nothing else in the
Yes, but-
Candlekeep area.
Give me a moment to recover my my wits. Let's depart in about an hour. I need to recover, and I'll take a short rest because I need one very badly.
Sounds good. Everyone else may do so if they need to.
I only needed to roll the first one. I double-clicked it, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Poor Barazoon didn't even use any spell slots, so he can't do Arcane Recovery.
Actually, you know what? I will use both, because the 3 puts me completely up to full health, so why not just be at full health?
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so after Zokar is suitably rest up and ready for the journey, while perhaps the others are working to pack up the cart and whatnot, and head out on your way, the first day, or first half of a day, I should say, since you're leaving, 1 in the afternoon. You have a fair bit of daylight ahead of you. Is there anything that you all do in the course of your travels? Space for role play or what have you? I don't want to skirt ahead too fast.
I would say I mutter to myself, because it will be this next morning that he gets a repeating crossbow. I'm going to think about it and mutter to myself as I plan out a repeating crossbow.
Does it have a name?
Is it considered conventional to name your weapons here?
Sometimes.
What's your weapon's name?
Stabby and Shooty. I'm not very original with my names.
That feels uncreative.
Well, then mine will be called Super Shooty, and you will be the first to wield it.
Well, thank you. I will take good use of Super Shooty.
Is that a fearsome name, Super Shooty?
Yes, it is the most fearsome name I've heard today.
Aside from Susan.
Susan, yes.
Susan. I don't know. I feel like the other horse is better.
Sparkle Bolt?
Prince Sparkle Bolt?
Yep.
Sparkle Bolt.
Well,
and it-
Selva is hanging out in the back of the covered wagon with Baratsoon and Tally, and she's doing a little sketch of them both as they kind of just hang out doing whatever they're doing.
Oh, very nice. Make a dexterity check plus your proficiency bonus.
Wait, what?
So click on your dexterity ability score. Click the plus whatever that is, +2, I think, or whatever it says. Oh no!
Oh, terrible. Oh, wait, what was the other thing you said though?
Then you add your proficiency, so that's 2 more. So it turns out as a total of 5 from a natural 1.
I'm just not used to. I'm not used to drawing Githyanki or cat people.
Well,
Yeah,
the thing you get at the fair where they draw you.
yeah, it's a caricature.
Yes.
It's like a horrid, mean caricature.
And I decide not to share it with anybody. It goes into my journal.
Good. You're used to working at, an easel or, a stable sketchbook rather than bumping and jerking around in a covered wagon. So it's not exactly the most comfortable ride, and that interferes with your drawing, unfortunately. But it's maybe your introduction to caricature work. All right, Zokar, make a vehicles check with, I'd say dexterity or wisdom, your choice.
Okay, probably Dex.
And then I'll have Azure do a perception check over the course of the day.
Gonna ask to do that. Ugh.
Sorry, I'm creating this custom stat because it seems like it might come up, so I'm just gonna.
Fair. Yep. Very valid.
Um,
And I can help you out with that, Hannah, as well, making some of these custom skills that you may use more frequently.
Oh, like vehicles as a skill?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you guys were just joking.
No, you
so I
can.
just laughed and pretended I knew what was going on.
No, he is proficient in land vehicles, and D&D Beyond enables you to put in customized skills so that you can just click the button and roll these less common things. All right. Well, you're still getting used to it. You're accustomed, perhaps, to vehicles that drive themselves or they have psionic propulsion. So actually handling animals that are responsible for the forward momentum is just a little ridiculous. Who came up with this idea?
These animals are poorly trained. Susan keeps pulling to the left, and Sparklebolt also keeps pulling to the left.
So it's not the fastest
damn it.
going. That's perhaps why Selva is getting jostled around so much, because you're constantly having to correct.
I can't nap in the sun on the back because you guys can't drive.
I have seen you nap in far more perilous situations than this.
I'm not saying I can't nap. I should rephrase. I don't have the ideal napping conditions.
Hashtag cat problems.
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, none of the rest of you know how to drive a horse, so
Horse drive a horse.
I
Yeah.
am piloting these horses to Baldur's Gate. What of it?
Very good. Very good. All right. Well, with that, your day passes uneventfully as you pull off to the side or find a spot to make your camp for the evening. Did you bring sort of camping gear stuff, or are you sleeping in the wagon itself?
I brought vegetables.
I have a tent. If
I'm sleeping in the wagon.
I will also sleep in the wagon.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
I will make sure that the horses are securely tied to a large, well-rooted tree.
Very good.
I have a 2-person tent, so if somebody wants to craft with me, they can.
Ooh.
It's a pretty nice tent too.
Well, they say they're rated for 2 people. That always means they're like 1 person and their stuff.
It's like you gotta squeeze in.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
So
I will make dinner.
Ooh. Ho. Tell us about dinner.
I would like some more squid snacks, please.
Dinner is roasted sparkle bowl. No,
No!
no.
So your travel time has turned into 4 days now.
I will fight you.
I will hunt a number of small squirrels, and we will have roasted squirrel kebab with crushed acorn seasoning.
Ooh.
We brought food.
Yes, but that is bad, and this is good.
Okay.
I mean,
That is the emergency food. Perhaps it has been some number of years here since you last went on a raid, but we don't eat that food until the shit has hit the fan.
Well, I think the extra 4 days of food is the emergency food. The first 4 days of food was the food we're supposed to be
I'm
eating.
making squirrel kebabs, so you know what? Save
Backup
your ration.
emergency food, and your squirrel kebab is getting cold.
delicious.
I'm imagining like chicken satay skewers, except instead of peanut, it's acorn butter.
Ooh.
I actually imagine it with one the tail just on one end.
Oh
Just
yeah,
sin.
yep.
Uh,
Very good.
I'm having my squirrel. Tally likes a rodent.
All right. Very good. Very good. All right. Well, if you are setting watches, there's 5 of you, so I'll just have everybody roll perception, since that that works out to 10 hours, so that covers
Oh, I'm actually really good at this. That won't make any difference because
Crit machine, except for writing the card.
Yep.
there we go.
Okay.
I did not do well because I can't roll anything tonight. Oh well.
I also have extra torches if people need them. You know, you people without dark vision.
Ironically,
So this
I think it's the Gith that lack dark vision.
Which, do we though, in previous editions? Do we?
I don't remember actually.
Pretty sure they have dark vision. Anyway, it's not important.
So with this whole automatic, I actually have a mechanics question. With
Sure.
This whole automatic double roll with the beyond 20 silliness.
Mm-hmm.
Which roll are we counting?
I always, if you don't have advantage, I take the first one.
The first one being the one to the left.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. I was just making sure.
Yeah.
Yes, in 2E all the way up. Now, see, and the Realms thing, it says we have dark vision, and I know they had dark vision in all previous editions, but I don't think it actually mechanically says we have dark vision.
Well, that's dumb.
I'm looking.
I was gonna say I'm
Thanks, wizards.
pretty sure I checked because I had to make your tokens properly.
Yeah.
So, First up on watch is Zokar. Makes sense, as you're sort of cooking and cleaning up afterwards and sort of preparing for the long rest. You get very, very intricately acquainted with your surroundings. You spot the necessary sort of strategic vantage points and defensible positions as you maybe readjust the position of the cart, change where the horses are tethered, and set yourself up for an optimal evening that will help should anything go amiss. Then, as everyone beds down for the night, Selva takes up her watch and keeps an eye out as the night falls, things get dark. There are the chirp of crickets and the stirring wildlife as we are moving slowly into the warmer weather, but there is sort of a chill, but the watch passes uneventfully and you don't see anything amiss. Cheep, cheep, cheap. Then Tally takes over for the
I don't see anything.
It is dark, but you have the dark vision to see through that. The fire is fading down to its embers now, so there is just that sort of faint red glow immediately around the tents and sleeping bags as you sort of keep an eye out from the wagon. It's relatively quiet. You hear some wildlife in the distance, but nothing that catches your attention as being too terribly close.
Well, that's good.
You eventually wake up Azure from his tent to take over for the third watch. And Azure, you have the keen eyes and alertness of a hunter. You are accustomed to looking out for trouble in a different environment, but it's surprising how quickly you sort of adjust to the wilderness, and you still have that sort of auditory depth perception of gauging how far away certain sounds are and whether they're a threat or not. And over the course of this, these super early dawn hours, you hear something sort of approaching. You sort of look across the clearing into the trees. Doesn't sound too terribly big. You can just see sort of like pop up from a set of bushes a fox that just sort of like sits on the far side of the clearing and makes eye contact. Makes eye contact with you. There's a long sort of pause of silence, and then he sort of goes ambling off back out into the darkness. Then you go wake up Baratzun to take the final watch, and Baratzun.
What a nice night that was.
I know. There were even sound effects.
Right?
I'm calmer.
Yeah. Then Baratzun, you take up your watch, and this is a very unusual environment for you. You are accustomed to, of course, traveling with Githyanki on raids and, fast, aggressive action, and then, studying in the Eternal City, the Timeless City, and then coming to Candlekeep, very nicely sheltered and, in a cozy bedroom and whatnot. So perhaps this might even be your first time roughing it in actual proper wilderness that is not sudden and violent. And so every sound that you hear is just cause for panic. What is that? Oh, it's a goldfinch. Oh, what's that? Oh, those are crickets.
What sound do goldfish make?
Goldfinch. Finch, the bird.
Oh, I thought you said goldfish. I was going to be very confused as to what exactly was happening.
Well, they make kind of a crunching sound, and it's kind of cheesy.
They smile back.
Yeah, they smile. They make a smiling sound.
Like stepping on a twig.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the final hour, or the final 2 hours of the night, as dawn is just starting to be teased, are slightly uneasy sleeping for everyone else, as Baratzun occasionally makes a little yelp or, sort of like jumps up and is startled by something that's, just another squirrel come to mourn its comrades.
Upon awaking, I will begin my morning infusions. I don't have to change my
Coffee?
armor, but I will begin to chant and incant and handle the super shooter, and various bits of mechanica will start to kind of manifest on it, and it will be infused with energy, and then I will grant that to Senor Shooty McShootface and begin to bust out camp.
So not coffee? You said infusions, and I got excited.
Yeah.
You can make your own foul bean water.
I don't drink coffee, but
Nor do I. It's bean water. It's an abomination.
Good. RJ, you get a point of inspiration. Not Zokar, just literally RJ. All right. Well, as camp is packed up and you guys get ready to head out for the day, same arrangement as before, as you're riding shotgun with Zokar and Tally at the back of the wagon.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Give me those same checks then. Zokar with the land vehicles and Azure with a perception. All right. Man,
The animals don't like you.
I'm going to use RJ's inspiration roll immediately.
Fair enough.
I mean, keep us on the road, man. Keep us on the road.
And Sparkle Bolt will comply.
Damn, it's sparkable.
I love it. Okay, so the morning, the start is rocky, but then Zokar sort of, from an otherworldly source gets his wits about him and begins to really get a handle on these horses, and it ensures for a slightly smoother ride on today's journey. The scenery is peaceful and beautiful. Azure, you do occasionally spot other travelers on the road, whether it be you see maybe like one merchant caravan, and then there's a sort of a hay cart, or a produce cart that a local farmer is bringing towards Candlekeep. So you pass those two along the way, but nothing catches your attention as being particularly unusual. Is there anything that happens among the party over the course of your day's travel?
Napping.
So Selva, how long have you been able to do that? The thunder stuff and the lightning.
Oh, it only just started. What now? 3 months ago, probably.
Oh, so it's pretty recent, is what I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, it put a little bit of a thorn in my life.
Did you just wake up and you could do this, or were you like struck by lightning?
No, as you know, I'm part of the Artists Guild, and I was working on this mural on an apothecary, and beautiful day outside, and out of nowhere, this is what I'm told because I woke up on the ground and I don't remember anything. A bolt of lightning, when I reached up to kind of paint something, shocked me right in my arm, and as you can see, I'm still scarred from the experience. And kind of just slowly over the course of a couple of days, I wasn't feeling quite myself, feeling anxious, and started kind of having these electrical experiences or sending gusts of air different ways. And my guild is really all I have, and they sent me to Candlekeep to maybe find somebody who might know something to kind of help me out. So
Very interesting. Okay.
Scars are trophies over those that we have bested, and I have very rarely met someone who has bested lightning, Selva.
Thanks.
Very good.
This 2-day journey seems interminable to me, which is bizarre in the way that I reckon time. Baratsu, perhaps you have a fact that's on your mind.
It's been a long time since I left the walls of Candlekeep. I just try not to I usually am distracted on long journeys like this.
It's been a long time. What does that even mean to you?
I would say about 20 years, as you reckon them. It's so easy to lose track of oneself with all the world's knowledge at your fingertips.
So modest.
I mean, I'm not claiming to have all the world's knowledge. It's the endless library of Candlekeep. There's always so much more to keep you occupied. At any rate, this has been a wonderful diversion from my studies.
Very good. All right. Well, the day passes without particular incident as you come up on your second night. You expect that probably late afternoon tomorrow, you would be expecting to arrive in Baldur's Gate. So you still have a pretty full day's journey ahead as you head along. So you find a place to set up camp for the evening and do a similar thing there. Zokar, do we have anything particular on the menu tonight? Oh,
The game is poor. I'm going to guess we're on the edge of the forest. I'm going to say, and there are not plentiful squirrels here. I had hoped, to perhaps gain a fowl of some sort, but was unable to secure one. So I have created a pureed and spiced ration soup, and it is it does the job.
Delicious.
It's better than the ration would be by itself, but also not good.
So hardtack chowder?
Yeah.
Ew. No, I'll have some rations. Thank you very much.
That's correct. You are having some rations.
No, I'll have my own rations. Thank you very much.
That is correct. You are eating your own rations.
Oh, I love it. I love it. All right. Anything else that occurs in the evening or camp setup? Or shall we transition our way to watches?
I'm gonna take a. Well, the sun is still out. I'm gonna try and explore a little bit to see if I can find any feathers or leavings from a forest creature that I might use to perform a ritual that I had in mind.
Sure. Make a survival would probably be my first instinct, but investigation could be a good facsimile if you prefer.
Yeah, let's do that.
If you do investigation, I'll help you with this.
Oh, and for the viewers at home, how did I get the squirrels yesterday? I have telekinesis. That's how. It's really easy to catch a squirrel when you just grab it with your mind and pull it over
Yoink.
towards it.
Why couldn't you grab things with your mind tonight?
There are no things to grab.
Walk a bigger circle.
Eat your rations.
Okay, let's see. Baratsune, in the course of your searching, you manage to find a raven's nest, from the looks of it, that has some of its fine sheen black feathers left behind, as it seems the nest is empty. There are sort of broken eggshells and whatnot, so it seems that the family has hatched and moved on to other climes.
Okay. Yeah, I will take the feathers and the eggshells.
Okay.
For future use.
Mm-hmm. Sounds very good. All right. Well, then, as folks get ready for the evening, go ahead and roll me all 5 of those perception checks again.
Oh boy. Bad every time.
Jeez. We got all our good rolls out
No,
last week.
amazing. I see things, except there's nothing to see.
All right, so let's see here. So Zokar begins again, packing up, and tidying up from dinner and preparing the campsite for the actual.
In a foul mood from tonight's culinary disaster.
Indeed, indeed, you are very, very distracted with that, but sort of put your feelings behind as best you can and sort of roll over into your bedroll and just try to sleep it off. You'll wake up feeling better. But then that will bring us to the first proper watch of the night, Azure, keeping an eye out, and things feel a little different. Your campsite is perhaps a little more exposed. You're on the edge of this forest before you come into open plains. And sort of the fact that there is just this dark expanse to one side of your camp makes you feel very sort of small and exposed from the environments that you are used to that are a little tighter and more compact. You can watch discrete entry points and whatnot, and that's not the case here. So puts you a little uneasy, but nothing seems to draw your particular attention. And you finish up your turn as you sort of gently wake Selva to take over for you, moving into the second night's span of time. And Selva, it's kind of nice for you to be out in the wilderness, sort of, as you're understanding these powers and the sort of strange natural connection that they have with weather and whatnot. Being out here in the open air kind of feels good. And you feel this sort of almost supernatural connection to the air around you, that faint sort of static that is in the air. And you're kind of struggling to place it until you hear a in the distance as a storm starts to break and roll across the open plain towards you, crackling in the distance. And it gives you this sort of peace. And as you're looking out across the plain and seeing the storm start to approach and smell that rain on the air, there's a flash of lightning. And in that brief, bare instant, about 100 feet away, you see illuminated a hunched figure that is slinking towards you through the grass. And
Oh, God.
these large hunched shapes, not necessarily a humanoid shape, but there's something moving through the tall waving grass that is blowing in the wind. All right, so Selva, in the course of her watch, has observed these four shapes that are slinking through the tall grass of the plains before her as a storm is approaching, and has just enough time to wake everyone up, not necessarily wake everyone up. It is up to you, Selva, what you wish to do in this moment.
I'm immediately like, guys, wake up, yelling loud enough for everyone to hear.
All right, very good. So that is what occurs there. Selva sort of spends her action and her round waking people up, and this is they are sort of stirring themselves. And let's go ahead and roll initiative. All right. So I know I promised the audience that this week they would probably get to see a combat encounter, but this one's going to be more theater of the mind, so I don't actually have a battle map specifically prepared. So we'll stick with this, or actually, you know what? Maybe what I will do is I will switch over to the battle overlay, so they can at least see the map that there was last week. They can see your guys' office, since they missed.
I was going to say, is it in our office? It would be great if it was in our office.
It would be funny if it was in the office, but no, it is out in the wilderness. You have the forest, we'll say, kind of on your southern side, and the plains on your northern side, as this is the circumstance there. But in the meantime, the audience can look and enjoy your office space that they missed out on last week. And we begin with Tally. As you have been roused,
Yes,
you know that there is some sort of threat.
For sure it does. Can I identify the threat? Can I like figure out where to start shooting?
Let's see. So Tally's passive, or Selva's passive perception is a 16, which is pretty heckin' great. So where are they at? Tally, you know where they are.
Cool.
Blah, blah, blah. I'm getting my people mixed up. Selva knows where they are. Tally has not necessarily spotted them yet, but Selva can point them out to you. You see this humanoid figure that is moving through the grass, and then these three sort of shapes that are lower to the ground that are sort of off in that northerly direction.
Meow. I cast my hunter's mark on the humanoid figure and shoot an arrow at it.
Okay, very good.
I am very reckless. So cool. My longbow is a 27 to hit.
That'll do.
Oh, sorry, that was on the wrong device.
That's okay.
Whatever. Doesn't matter.
I saw
it's still
it.
27.
Yeah.
Oh, you saw it. Oh, because you can see the log. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So it does 8 plus a d6, right?
Yep.
Plus, I'm going to use my, for the first time ever, I'm going to use my favored foe.
I think that's
And
also a bonus action, though, is the problem.
No, it just says the first time on each of your turns you hit the favorite enemy and deal damage to it, you can increase the damage by a d4. It doesn't have an action.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's a total, boy. It's a total of 17.
Okay. 17 points of damage to this.
Sniper shot it in the dark with my cat eyes.
And you hear this sort of raspy as
Yikes.
you presumably have bloodied whatever this target is from the sounds of that cry.
Holy. Well, that was good, guys.
Yeah.
Kill it.
Selva, that brings us to you.
Considering we don't know, if I
don't know if it's hostile.
I know it's like if I wanted to be like, hey, who are you? Like, can I do that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can.
Does it take up my turn or does it take up an action to yell out to the humanoid thing?
It depends on the approach that you want to take. If you want to actually sort of like make a thing of it and say a piece, and try and persuade them to a certain course of action, then that would be the sort of thing that's an action. Alternatively, you could sort of hedge your bets and just be like, who is it? And then you could prepare an action of like, if they shoot at me, I'll shoot at them.
Okay. So I've never used magic missile yet, but wait, what could I say? Like, hey, you're approaching us. If you don't tell us who you are in 1 second, I'm gonna magic missile you and 2 of your little guys.
Yeah,
that's what I said.
Okay, very cool. So yeah, identify yourselves or we will retaliate. And you conjure up the energy of your magic missile and you prepare the action. And you may use your reaction later if they go hostile on you. All right, let's see then. Okay. So there is a crack of lightning, Selva, as you sort of call this out, the brief illumination of the space, and you can see this humanoid figure, a gash or blood pouring down their armor that you can now see. You see this twisted, snarling face that has a sort of pronounced snout to it and these long pointed teeth. But then as the lightning flashes away and it becomes dark again and you sort of search into the darkness, you can still see those shapes of the sort of smaller, animalistic forms moving forward, but you can't see the humanoid anymore. Do you interpret that as an act of hostility? Do you trigger your reaction?
Yeah, I react.
Okay. So a bolt on each of the 3 little beasties. All right.
Little tickle.
Yep. Okay. So these.
Just like a little warning. Like, hey.
What color are your magic missiles? What do they look like?
They're almost invisible, clearly.
Fair.
They're more like a wind.
Translucent.
Don't you roll 3 times?
No, you
It's-
actually only roll once.
Yeah, there's many ways to interpret it. Frankly, I'm comfortable with either one.
It's
Yeah.
the Midwest. It's the Midwest ope of a magic missile. It's just like, oh, hey.
Yep. Very good. So these translucent darts of force with almost like a sort of little gust of wind to them spring from your fingertips and fly out into the darkness, and you hear this from maybe the closest beastie, a sort of
Yikes.
and that will bring us to Azure. Oh, whoops, no, sorry, Baratsoon.
Cool. I am going to cast sleep
Ooh.
on. They're all kind of clumped up together, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna try and catch as many of them in that as I can. So I will roll 5d8. That. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
18 hit points of creatures.
So, practically in unison, you see these furry, large creatures sort of, ambling their way forward, snarling through the grass, and then they suddenly sort of like tumble and do somersaults from their momentum as all 3 of them are put to sleep.
Oh no, the fuzzies are asleep.
The fuzzies are asleep. And
Oh, no, don't kill them.
rather coincidentally, it is their turn. Or no, sorry, it is Azure. I clicked my button one too many times, and now I keep thinking I'm in the wrong place. It is Azure's turn.
Okay, so there's 3 of them that are asleep. Nothing's awake now, from what I can see, right?
Correct. The humanoid shape has gone absent.
I will use my bonus action to hide.
Okay.
Can I do that somewhere? Like, is there like a rock?
Oh
or
yeah.
behind, like,
There's
a
you can
tent?
you can retreat back into the forest a little bit and duck behind a tree, or maybe a rock that's in this vicinity, or move into the tall grass. There's plenty of places depending on which direction you want to be in.
I'll like move into like the tree line.
Okay.
So I'll. That's not great. It's fine. And then I will take. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
13. Not. Yeah.
This is fine. This is fine.
Mhm.
I'll then take super shooty and like load it and be like, okay, just ready to look out for the humanoid-looking figure.
Perfect.
Just shoot at it when I see it.
Okay. Very good. Then it is the little creature's turns, and they are sleeping through their turn, which brings us to Zokar.
How about how far away are these things?
By this point, as they sort of moved up on you, they're probably maybe 20 feet away.
I will bum rush the remaining one, and we did we get a description more than like kind of crittery little guy, not humanoid?
No, yeah, these beasties are probably the size of like a mastiff, but they're very furry. You can faintly see from what's left of your fire, there's like gray fur, but you haven't gotten a close look at them because they've been obscured by grass.
Okay, I'm going to bum rush the one that's still not sleeping.
All 3 of them are asleep. The humanoid is presumably not asleep, but has gone missing.
Oh, I thought there were. I'm not tracking what's going on. I apologize.
No worries. No worries.
I I will walk to Tally. I will take out my my smithing tools, and I will use, oh gosh, what is it called? Magical tinkering to turn some of his arrows into light arrows, light
Okay.
emitting arrows.
Ah.
So I'll do that to. I'll do that to. You know what? I've got 4 of them. I'll do it to 3 of them.
Okay.
So
Wow.
they will emit light in a 5-foot radius and dim light for an additional 5 feet beyond that. And then I will cast Expeditious Assault, which is the Githyanki name for Expeditious Retreat.
Good. Good.
And then I will move into the middle of all of the like sleeping things.
Beasties?
And look for the beasties and look for something. So yeah.
Cool.
That's my whole series of things.
All right, so as you run in, and from what dim light there is coming off the leftovers of your fire, you can see that, yes, they are the size of a mastiff, and they are rats. Big, matted, muddy fur, twisted, blackened teeth, like you're fighting ROUSs.
They're not even in the basement. Do I see any humanoid figure?
No,
Sure.
not in the immediate vicinity. That would be
Okay.
a perception check action.
Okay, yeah, and I don't know that I technically used my action, but because it's not an action to do magical tinkering, weirdly, but
Really?
I think I did enough things.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool. All right, that will bring us back up to the top with Tally. So you have lighted arrows.
Because I hunter's marked it, I have apparently an advantage to find it on any perception check.
Oh. And
Does that require a full action? How does this work?
I actually forget, does Hunter's Mark give you a sense of direction too? I thought that there's a
You
magical...
have advantage on any perception check you make to find it being the target.
Okay. Then yes, as an action, you may make a perception check and you would have advantage.
Sure, I'll
So
try
it's only
that.
one. Apparently, it is an action. They just statted it weirdly in D&D Beyond.
Okay, well that sucked. Let's try it again. That's good. I got a 20.
Ooh, okay. Let's see. So, that is actually a good point. I gotta double check what sort of bonus there is here. As you are looking out, you can see some disturbance now that Zokar has sort of run out, and you have something to sort of compare scale to. You can see that there is a disturbance in the grass, as though this creature ran through the grass off to the left, but you can't see where they are now, unfortunately.
I haven't used my movement. Can I run in their direction?
Yeah, absolutely.
I will run after them and say, I think it.
All right, and that'll bring us to Selva.
Okay. Can I have a reminder on where are the 3?
So there are 3 giant rats that Zokar is in the midst of. You have put them to sleep, and they will stay that way. Or Baratzun has put them to sleep, and they will stay that way for a minute.
Okay.
And then Tally has just run off to the left, indicating that the humanoid is somewhere in this direction.
Okay, gotcha. And one more question. So between now and the fight we had last time, have we had technically a long rest, or should I still consider
absolutely.
it?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you camped the previous night.
Well, then I'm gonna just go with Old Faithful Chromatic Orb and shoot it at whoever's closest to me.
Okay.
A sleeping rat.
I was gonna say, so a sleeping rat is incapacitated, so it grants advantage, I think. But also because it's
kind of mean about this.
Because it's prone, there's disadvantage, so they cancel out. So it would just be a straight roll. So you're technically better off going up and like trying to stab it or do something that's melee. But that's your call. You can also prepare an action, kind of like you did before, for if the humanoid shows themselves again.
True. Okay. Well, you know what? Actually, can I just prepare Chromatic Orb and like be looking around for the humanoid?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's what I'll do.
Cool. Well, it is now the humanoid's turn, and
Just a point of order.
Yeah.
My embarrassing fact about Tally is relevant right now, and I don't know if you remember.
We shall have to poke Anthony and see how that's panning out. Have you, incidentally, Tally, have you remembered what Selva is aware of about you?
Salva's looking at you very concerned right now.
Oh gosh, I don't. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm running away and I'm going towards I'm running towards the humanoid. It works perfectly.
I was gonna say it really does pan out.
But I shouted, no, I actually specifically shouted, they're this way.
Yeah.
So you don't just think I'm bolting. You think I'm
Very good. All right. Well, let's see. Oh, yeah. It's Selva. Ooh. Selva, I assume that a 23 hits you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Let's see. So you, as you're sort of looking out in that direction, there is a sudden as you look down and see a crossbow bolt buried in your torso. And you take, well, that's pitiful. You take 3 points of piercing damage, and you look out just in time to see the sort of twisted rat face of the humanoid glaring in the firelight as he's aiming and reloading and firing a second crossbow bolt at you.
Can I see him now?
Yep.
Okay.
And Selva can as well. So you have the both of you have the opportunity to shoot before his second attack.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take a shot. Does he see where I am?
No.
Okay, so I have advantage.
Yep.
Advantage.
Delicious advantage.
Did it not show up?
I have not seen it yet. Oh,
I saw a 12 for super shooty.
I don't know why.
You might want to click features. You might want to click features and traits, and then see if that reloads it. Because remember, you have to do that thing.
I don't know. Hang on, sorry.
no worries. Meanwhile, Selva has a chromatic orb prepared as well, so you can fire that shot.
Does a 12 hit?
It does not.
Okay.
And so, unfortunately, chromatic orb also misses. Sorry, guys. So then a second shot goes for Selva. Oof! With a 21 to hit.
Oh.
And Selva takes 4 piercing damage from a second crossbow bolt.
This is rat person misogyny, and I will not stand for it.
And
to be fair, all rat people are misogynists. Or rather, all misogynists are rat people. That's the one.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. And it then ducks back behind the tree, is seemingly very proud of its hiding place. Baratsun, your turn.
Did I catch a glimpse of this individual?
Yes.
Okay. I want to.
They presently have total cover from you because they are indeed behind a tree, but they are very obviously behind the tree.
Got it. So I can't see them now, is what I'm hearing.
Correct. Yeah, there's no present line of sight. If you move, you probably have line of sight.
Yeah. Sure. I will move in their direction until I can see them, and then I'll cast Toll the Dead.
Oh. Okay.
So he needs to make a Wisdom save.
Okay. That is a 10.
All right, that is a failure. So he's gonna take 1
1
point of necrotic damage.
Oh
boy.
no!
Who does the bell toll for? The bell tolls for thee.
All right, Azure, how about you?
I will reposition myself to see him
Okay.
and just take a shot with super shooty.
All right.
Did that time that work?
That'll do, even with the cover bonus that he's got.
Ooh. So no sneak attack probably.
Correct. Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
So I guess that's 13.
All right. Heavy hit. Impacts, and he winces. And the giant rats are still sleeping. Then Zokar.
And then
Oh, sorry.
sorry, can I use my bonus action to hide back behind a tree?
Yeah.
Rogue things.
Yeah.
Zokar is going to beeline for him and grab him by the throat and pick him up.
Oh, all right. Let's do the contested grapple there. Oh.
I will be expending a charge from my magical armor of strength as arcane energy flows through my armor, empowering silver threads like coalescing along my arm to empower my strength here. So hold on 1 second because I have to add a bonus into this.
Mm-hmm.
You're activating your throat grabbing gauntlet.
Oh my god. I will spend an inspiration because Jesus.
Okay, with the 24, you grab him because he got a 20.
Wow.
My +9. +9 to athletic. So I will. How much movement do I have left? With the fact that I have a bonus action dash.
Oh, I'd say you probably went 30 feet to get there. So you can move 15 feet with him since your speed is halved.
I'm going to move 15 feet to the group with him, like just literally holding him by the scruff of his little rat neck and walk him back towards the group.
All right. Very good, very good. He is in rough shape.
And I will also say at the end of it, you have seconds to speak and tell us why you attacked us, or you will meet a very unpleasant fate.
All right, Tally, it is your turn as the rat person has been dragged into the light.
Well, I know exactly where they are now, so I will hold a longbow shot, including a hunter's mark and a favored foe, so basically slaughtering them.
Yep.
With the light arrow.
With a light arrow. If they either attack my friend or successfully escape my friend, either way, my shot will go off and attempt to either murder or mark them.
Fair enough. All right, Selva.
I'm just gonna do a nice, good old fashioned jolt
Okay.
at our ratty friend.
Yeah. Okay.
They're not talking.
No.
Wait, why?
Selva chooses violence.
Perfect.
Oh, no.
I would remind you, you're shooting electricity into something that I am holding.
Oh no, I didn't know those. There's friendly fire.
That's not. No, that's
Maybe not the best idea.
That's not really a thing, but also
Right.
physics-wise.
What are physics?
What are
real world
physics?
physics versus D&D physics? D&D physics says that's fine, and you should absolutely do that.
Yep.
Real world physics says
No, don't take the chance.
All right, but unfortunately, you are a little concerned about hitting Zokar, so your jolt swings a little bit wide, unfortunately, and you do miss as you go off to the side. Now it is his turn, and just like with his throat sort of like constricted in Zokar's magically imbued gauntlet. You just look like easy targets. I was clearly very wrong.
Aziz, is he lying?
These?
Light. Aziz. A-Z. Is it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sorry.
Do you want me to roll?
Sure. If the party, I mean, that was his turn. He seems to sort of be standing down. No, that seems he seems like he's severely regretting his life choices.
I'll be like, he looks good. We should maybe stand down.
I will pull back my attack so it won't go off.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if this guy's just a random highwayman who bit off more than he can chew, I don't really see the reason we should concern ourselves with him.
Is he a
Gotta
rat?
bring it
Is he a
again.
rat man? Or is he a person?
Yeah. Someone who's
Or it's kinda hard
proficient.
to tell.
Someone who's proficient in nature could roll a nature check.
I am efficient in nature. I have a 21.
He looks like a were-rat. He's a lycanthrope.
Oh, ew, poor guy.
Oh no.
An icky wear. Ugh.
In that
Should we
case,
murder him?
I will not be slaying his rat friends. That just seems cruel and a good way to earn his eternal ire.
Mm-hmm.
Unless we just murder him as well.
Can I just be kind of like?
Yeah, I'm not all about the whole murder everybody shtick.
Well, can I
I
tell
mean, if
him?
this were a raid, certainly there would be casualties, but this is just some opportunist.
Let's try to let him go, and then maybe he'll be nice to us later if we encounter him again.
Yeah.
Well, let me just say, yeah, we don't have to murder him, but if I can speak in an intimidating way, saying we travel here all the time, and if I ever see you again, we will kill you.
Okay.
I like it.
Roll.
I will. Okay, go. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Zokar is already giving you advantage with the throat clamp, so you may do
Okay.
intimidation.
Well, I have a high intimidation, so hopefully this works.
Ooh.
Yeah, that does the stuff. He just sort of like, yes, ma'am, certainly, ma'am.
I will take him very close to my face. Probably not the smartest thing to do with the were-rat, but it's fine. And I will just look at him and I will say, "Run!" And then I will just kind of like hurl.
He goes like tumbling. He does like a somersault on landing, runs, hesitates, and like backtracks 3 steps and like grabs a rat and then keeps running.
No.
I will end my concentration if that's even something that I can do, and like kick one of the rats in his direction if they're sluggish to follow him.
We could have rat for breakfast in the morning.
No, that's the worst thing we can have.
I like the idea that he left one behind, but somehow you perfectly drop kick it like right into his path.
Yeah.
I have garlic. We can make garlic raton. It's delicious.
We can catch more. It's fine.
Oh my
We
goodness.
have rats now. You're saying let rats go to get rats later?
Not so much let them go as catapult them back to their owner at full speed. Letting them go implies they have any choice. You launched them.
I hate everything about this.
Oh, this is glorious. This is glorious. All right. Well, as the rats are roused and scamper away, while this dispute is occurring, they take it upon themselves to scamper and chase after their leader. And he vanishes into the night as the raindrops begin falling upon all of you, and that the smell of early spring rain permeates your surroundings.
I will say, when the kind of the adrenaline fades for a second, I will give a sort of martial clap thump on my chest and be like, "It worked! I didn't think it was going to work, but it worked."
What worked?
My tendon armor.
Most impressive.
He was a squirrely one for a were rat. He was very squirrely, and I thought I was going to lose my grip, but then I did not.
I'm glad you were able to effect an effective field test of your new armor.
Was anyone hit?
No.
Selva got
Yeah, I have arrows sticking out of me. I have 7 points of
Does
damage.
anyone? She's got 2 crossbow bolts in her gut.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Adam, I did not prepare healing magics today. Tomorrow
Neither did
I
I.
will be able to tend the wounds.
It's
Let's
fine.
get those-
I'll be fine. It's
let's get
fine.
those out.
Nap. You know what? Nap. Napping
Sleep it
cures
off.
everything.
Sleep it
Yeah.
off.
Crossbow bolts, bleeding, diphtheria. Just nap. It'll be fine.
Burns.
Yep.
Eaten by a dragon.
I
Yep.
had a DM in a one shot over the summer who kind of went more for like HP or a like recommendation of how close you are to being worn out. And so it wasn't until your HP was at like 125, and then you got that actual hit that you were hit, and then that damage was like gruesome. And I actually really enjoyed that as a mechanic because it makes the thing of like Selva has 2 crossbow bolts in her belly, and like she's like, "No, I'm just gonna nap. It'll be fine." Nap 6 crossbow holes is you know.
I mean,
Yeah.
they only did like 3 and 4 damage each, so they're probably like
Yeah.
they grazed her or went all the way through.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Still sleep it off though.
Yeah.
This is a new experience for me, but I think it'll be okay.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
All right.
All right. Well, with that, you are able to turn back in for the night. Reinitiate a long rest. You have to sleep in a little later in the morning since you were disturbed in that terse circumstance, but you wake up to a late morning having taken a long rest. And next week we will continue and arrive in Baldur's Gate.
Oh, cool. We can
Ooh.
find the book merchant
Very
and
good.
murder him.
Very good. Very good.
Ask him some pointed questions.
I pointed. You mean at the points of my claws?
Yeah, no, that was the
Yeah.
point.
Don't think there's a expiration on my light arrow, so I think you just have a glowing arrow until I decide that you don't or you shoot it, which isn't a terrible thing to have
No, I have.
at your disposal.
I'm excited about it.
Indeed. Well, thank you everyone for joining us, coming along for this crazy, silly ride, and join us for possibly the conclusion of this portion of the adventure. You know, I'm figuring each one's going to take maybe about 3 episodes. So I think you should be watching this on the 5th of May, Cinco de Mayo. Celebrate, have a fun time. And then
I think you'll be watching this every day.
they should be watching this every day.
On repeat.
Give us those views. But so anyway, that is that. This aired on the 5th, and it should be on YouTube by the 7th. Come back for the next episode on May 19th, and we will see you then.
Oh, bye.
Bye.